I don't know if I've ever seen anyone destroy narratives and make folks do a 180 to the degree that Raven Johnson has. She reversed it. It's a full reversal. Raven Johnson, she shows why she's got that winning personality and winning attitude, and you've seen it immediately. Not just through her play in the first preseason game for the Fever, where she went out there and was great on the floor, which is the most important thing, right? Like that defense is translating. She handled the ball in transition and all that. But if there was anybody who was concerned about the fit alongside Caitlin Clark.
She said it. The words hung in the air like a challenge to every veteran in the WNBA. Raven Johnson, the woman who once stood on the opposite side of a bitter college rivalry, just called Caitlin Clark the GOAT. It was a playful remark at practice, but the shockwaves were felt instantly across the basketball world. This was the same Raven Johnson who had been part of the defensive wall meant to stop Caitlin in college. Now, she is her biggest hype woman. This unbelievable 180-degree reversal has left critics stunned and fans in a total frenzy. It is not just a teammate being nice, it is a full-blown narrative shift that nobody saw coming when the draft picks were announced. But this was only the beginning of the chaos.
Those doubts, and she even took it a step further by calling Caitlin Clark the GOAT. So this happened at Fever practice today. And, it's a playful remark. You don't take it so seriously, but nonetheless, we know how it will be received on multiple fronts. Some folks, Fever fans, and everybody's going to celebrate, and there'll probably be some crash outs elsewhere. And you can just see, like, her personality is infectious.
The history between these two athletes is etched in the minds of every basketball fan. We all remember the intense matchups between South Carolina and Iowa. There was a time when they were the ultimate rivals, representing two different styles of play and two massive fan bases. For Raven to drop the GOAT label on Caitlin now is a massive statement that goes beyond simple team chemistry. It signals a burial of the hatchet that some people simply were not ready to witness. The internet is already divided, with some calling it a sign of a new dynasty, and others claiming it is a disrespectful slap to the legends who came before. But Raven clearly does not care about the noise. She is focused on the future and what they can build together.
And you can just tell that the personality fit works. And that's been important for the Fever just in general, right? Like, this is a team that has had good personalities, that's good character, good chemistry, all those sorts of things that helped them carry them through an injury-riddled year last year. Now, basketball fit is going to be the most important thing, but, Raven, again, sort of answered the critics there, I think, so far, or has so far. Look, she's got a long way to go to prove herself in the WNBA level, but we know her pedigree from South Carolina, and
Fever fans are absolutely celebrating this moment, but you can bet there are people elsewhere who are having a total meltdown. The term GOAT is sacred in sports, and applying it to a rookie, even one as generational as Caitlin Clark, is bound to cause some serious friction. We are talking about potential crash outs from veteran players and fans of other teams who feel their stars are being overlooked. Raven knew exactly what she was doing when she made that comment at practice. It was bold, it was punchy, and it was designed to show that the Indiana Fever are unified like never before. The controversy is brewing, and it is making the upcoming season feel more like a high-stakes drama than a standard sports schedule.
Brings, and the fact that she compliments Clark when it comes to keeping the pace in the tempo.
So that we can speed it up.
Raven was able to show what she can do on the floor too. How awesome was that to see?
It's great. I'm so proud of her. I think Raven shows up every single day and she's ready to work and she's ready to win. And so her being able to go out there and play free and do what she does, great to see.
What kind of skill set does she bring that maybe you guys were needing, or she can help fill and elevate this team?
I think her ability, one, to defend on ball and to defend anyone on the floor, but also her ability to push the pace. I think we know that C loves push the pace, and being able to have Raven in there pushing it the exact same way, I think is just going to be really great for our team.
And that's such an emphasis for the Fever. I mean, they keep saying it over.
If there were any lingering doubts about whether these two could actually coexist on the same floor, Raven has effectively destroyed them. People were genuinely concerned about the personality fit given their competitive past, but those fears have been proven completely wrong. Raven has an infectious personality that you can feel the moment she walks into the gym. She is not just fitting in, she is becoming a leader in her own right. Seeing her interact with Caitlyn and the rest of the squad shows a level of maturity that many critics ignored during the draft process. This is not a team filled with egos that clash. Instead, it is a group that is finding joy in the grind, and Raven is the spark plug.
Get out and run in that game. And before the game, I talked to Sophie Cunningham, and she mentioned, we talked about a lot of stuff, but she mentioned Raven, and when she was listing off the rookies, and you can just see the look on her face when she says her name.
Alabama, and then you have Raven, who's been absolutely phenomenal. And so
you have Raven, who's been absolutely phenomenal, making it a point. I don't know if some of that, is because they knew about, I don't want to know if I want to call it backlash per se, but the reaction to the draft pick, given the history between Clark and Raven Johnson. But boy, oh boy, have Fever fans taken to Raven Johnson.
Sophie Cunningham is another veteran who has spoken glowingly about Raven Johnson recently. When you see the footage of them at practice, the vibe is undeniable. Sophie is known for her tough, no-nonsense attitude, so for her to be this impressed by a rookie says a lot about Raven's impact. She mentioned that Raven has been absolutely phenomenal since arriving, making it clear that the draft pick was a total masterclass by the front office. There was some initial backlash to the pick, with some people questioning if the history between the players would be a distraction. But boy, have those critics been silenced. The teammates have taken to Raven just as fast as the fans have, creating a fortress of support.
That was part of the practice conversations as well.
We just saw it on the film. I mean, teams are going to guard her 94 feet. They're going to try to take away her touches. They're going to try to make everything difficult. We have to do a good job of finding ways that we can get her high percentage looks to where she's not always having to make tough shots. And that's getting more comfortable with one another. It's getting her a little bit more comfortable in off-ball actions. And getting us playing and the ball moving. And pace isn't just how fast we run up and down the floor. It's how quickly the ball is moving side to side into paint touches and out. And the more we get into playing with that pace in the quarter court.
Basketball fit is ultimately the most important thing, and Raven is answering those questions on the court as well. She showed out in her first preseason game, proving that her elite defensive skills translate perfectly to the professional level. She was out there hounding ball handlers and making things difficult for the opposition, but it was her ability to handle the ball in transition that really caught people's eyes. She is not just a defensive specialist. She is a secondary playmaker who can relieve the massive pressure placed on Caitlyn Clark. This versatility is going to be the key to the Fever's success this year. If Raven can continue to play with this level of freedom and confidence, the rest of the league is in trouble.
That way, it's certainly, and I don't really go back and forth on the ball, off the ball, but the general philosophy there from the coach makes sense. And that's where you do, bring in other ball handlers who can alleviate the amount of time she has to spend being, harassed, if you will, by the defense, and also allows her to get better at some of that off-ball action. But of course, as Caitlyn made it clear, she's the primary ball handler. That's not going to change, and it's still when she's at her best. But I'm interested to see the different lineup combinations they can now put out there.
The pedigree that Raven brings from South Carolina is top tier. She comes from a winning culture where excellence is the only standard. You can see that winning attitude in every drill and every scrimmage. She is a backup ball handler who plays with the poise of a seasoned pro. There is a long way to go to prove herself over a full WNBA season, but the initial glimpse has been more than enough to excite the coaching staff. Stephanie White has been watching closely, looking for ways to integrate Raven's speed into their fast-paced offensive system. The idea of having two elite ball handlers on the floor at once is a nightmare for opposing coaches who already have to worry about Caitlyn's range.
To talk about and speculate on going forward, as maybe Amber Cox was right about the draft pick when she said it was a home run and she should have gone top 5 and all that. Maybe we all were jerks jumping. I didn't really criticize the pick. I did say maybe the selling of the pick was a bit much. Caitlyn also took a little bit of a troll job at Stephanie White as well. It seems like the Fever are just having fun in general.
From side to side. All right, what's the question? Any name? Stephanie White.
Aaliyah Boston also weighed in on what Raven brings to the table, and her comments were incredibly revealing. Aaliyah talked about Raven's ability to defend anyone on the floor and her relentless motor. But the most interesting part was how she described the chemistry between Raven and Caitlyn regarding the pace of the game. They both love to run, they both want to push the tempo and catch the defense sleeping. Having a backcourt that can maintain that high speed for 40 minutes is a luxury that very few teams in the world possess. Aaliyah sounds like a proud big sister when she talks about Raven's growth, and that veteran support is going to be crucial as the season gets tougher. The emphasis for the Fever this year is speed, speed, and more speed. Caitlin Clark has said it, the coaching staff has said it, and now we are seeing it in action. During their matchup against the New York Liberty, the Fever really did get out and run, showing flashes of an offense that could be historic. Raven fits into this plan perfectly because she is a natural floor general who excels in the open court. She allows the team to maintain their aggressive identity even when the starters need a breather. It is about keeping the pressure on the opponent at all times. When you have multiple players who can push the pace, you force the defense to make split-second decisions that often lead to mistakes. Stephanie White's philosophy is not just about the players moving fast, it is about the ball moving fast. She has been vocal about how teams are going to guard Caitlin Clark this year. They are going to harass her for 94 feet, trying to take away her touches and make every single second on the court a struggle. This is where Raven Johnson becomes the ultimate secret weapon. By having another reliable ball handler who can initiate the offense, the Fever can move Caitlyn off the ball into more creative actions. This allows her to get higher percentage looks instead of always having to create a miracle shot at the end of the shot clock. It is a strategic evolution that could change everything. The conversation around high percentage looks is something the coaching staff is obsessing over right now. They saw the film from the early games and realized that the ball needs to move side to side more effectively. Getting paint touches and then kicking the ball out to open shooters is the goal. Raven's ability to penetrate the defense and find the open man is exactly what the doctor ordered. She is getting more comfortable with the off-ball actions and the general flow of the pro game. As she and Caitlyn develop that telepathic connection that great backcourts have, the offensive ceiling for this team is going to skyrocket. They are building something that is meant to last for years, not just one season. One of the most intriguing lineup combinations involves Raven playing alongside both Caitlyn and Kelsey Mitchell. This would create a three-guard look that is incredibly difficult to match up against. Raven is a strong enough defender that she could potentially guard some of the league's smaller wings, allowing the offense to stay potent. However, for this to work long-term, Raven is going to have to prove she can hit those spot-up shots consistently. If she can become a threat from the perimeter, it forces the defense to stay honest. You cannot help off her to double-team Caitlyn if she is knocking down threes. That is the next step in her evolution, and she seems more than ready to put in the work. Looking back at the draft, it seems like Amber Cox might have been exactly right when she called the Raven Johnson pick a home run. At the time, some people thought that was hyperbole or just standard draft day hype. Some even called the front office jerks for selling the pick so hard given the history involved. But now, seeing how seamlessly Raven has integrated into the locker room, it looks like a genius move. She was arguably a top 5 talent who fell into their laps, and they did not hesitate. The value they are getting from her already, both in terms of on-court production and off-court chemistry, is immeasurable. The Fever are building a culture of fun and fierce competition. There is a sense of joy at practice that has been missing in previous years. Even the stars are getting in on the fun, with Caitlin Clark recently caught trolling coach Stephanie White during a drill. It is those little moments that tell you a lot about the health of a team. They are working hard, but they are also laughing. They are focused, but they are not stressed. This lighthearted atmosphere is largely due to the infusion of new energy from the rookies. When you have a player like Raven calling your franchise star the GOAT, it sets a tone of mutual respect and high expectations. They are not just here to participate, they are here to take over the league and have a blast doing it. The controversy over the GOAT comment might continue to rage on social media, but inside the Fever facility, it is just another day at the office. They are tuning out the noise and focusing on the details that win games. The ball movement, the defensive rotations, and the conditioning are the priorities. But you can tell that Raven's confidence has rubbed off on everyone. She plays with a certain swagger that is hard to teach. It is the kind of confidence you get from winning national championships at the college level. She knows she belongs on this stage, and she is not afraid to speak her mind, whether she is naming the GOAT or calling out a defensive assignment. Wait until the regular season starts and the world sees this duo in high-stakes moments. That is when the real test begins. The chemistry they are building now is the foundation for when the lights are brightest. If Raven can continue to be that disruptive force on defense while providing steady playmaking, she will become a household name very quickly. The league is not used to seeing a rookie come in with this much defensive intensity and vocal leadership. She is breaking the mold of what a first-year player is supposed to be, and by aligning herself so closely with Caitlyn, she is creating a united front that will be very hard for opponents to break down mentally or physically. The strategic depth this provides Stephanie White is incredible. She can experiment with different tempos depending on the opponent. If they need to grind it out, they have the size and strength. If they need to turn it into a track meet, they have Raven and Caitlyn ready to sprint. This flexibility is what separates good teams from great ones. The Fever are no longer a one-dimensional team that relies solely on one person to do everything. They are becoming a multi-headed monster with different players who can hurt you in different ways. Raven's emergence as a key piece of that puzzle is perhaps the biggest storyline of the preseason, even if the GOAT comment stole the headlines. There is also the factor of Raven's growth as a shooter. In the transcriptions, it was mentioned that her ability to spot up will change everything. If she becomes a 35 to 40% shooter from deep, the floor spacing for the Fever will be legendary. Imagine a scenario where Caitlyn is being doubled at the logo, and she skips the ball over to a wide-open Raven Johnson. That is the dream scenario for this offense. Raven is clearly putting in the hours in the gym to make that a reality. She knows what is at stake, and she knows how much easier it will make life for her teammates. Her dedication to the craft is why her teammates speak so highly of her. The fans have taken to Raven in a way that is truly special. There is a connection there that happened almost instantly. Maybe it is because they see how hard she plays, or maybe it is because they love the way she supports Caitlyn. Whatever it is, she has become a fan favorite in record time. When she enters the game, the energy in the building shifts. People want to see her succeed because she represents the new Fever, a team that is young, hungry, and unapologetic. She is the perfect bridge between the intense rivalry of the past and the collaborative success of the future. The controversy she sparked with her words only served to bring more eyes to the team. Caitlyn herself seems to be thriving with this new support system. She is used to having the weight of the world on her shoulders, but now she has teammates who are willing to share that burden and even celebrate her greatness publicly. It takes a certain type of person to call a teammate the GOAT so early in their career, and Raven is exactly that type of person. She is fearless. She does not care about the unwritten rules of being a rookie or the potential backlash from older players. She sees greatness and she calls it out. That kind of honesty is refreshing in a sports world that is often filled with cliches and safe, boring answers to media questions. Stephanie White is handling all of this with the poise of a veteran coach. She knows how to manage big personalities and high expectations. She has been in this league a long time, and she knows that talent alone is not enough. You need chemistry, you need a system, and you need players who buy in. From everything we are seeing, Raven Johnson has bought in 100%. She is not trying to be the star. She is trying to be the best version of herself for the sake of the team. That selfless attitude is what will ultimately lead to wins. The GOAT comment was just a fun moment, but the work behind the scenes is what actually matters. As we move closer to the start of the season, the excitement is reaching a fever pitch. This team is fun to watch, fun to talk about, and clearly having a lot of fun together. Raven Johnson has successfully navigated the transition from college rival to professional cornerstone. She has handled the media, the fans, and the pressure with incredible grace. Whether you agree with her GOAT assessment or not, you have to respect the way she has stepped into this situation and made it her own. She is a winner, she is a competitor, and she is exactly what this franchise needed to take the next step. The journey is just beginning, and it is going to be wild. Ultimately, Raven Johnson naming Caitlyn Clark the GOAT is about more than just basketball rankings. It is about a new era of the WNBA, where the players are defining their own narratives and supporting each other in ways we have never seen. The unbelievable controversy it sparked is just a reflection of how much people care about this game and these athletes. Raven did not hold back, and she should not have to. She is part of a generation that is bold, talented, and ready to lead. As the Fever take the court, all eyes will be on this dynamic duo to see if they can turn these headlines into championships. The world is watching, and Raven is ready for the spotlight.